So we started doing the breakfasts, we started doing the sandwiches. We opened 24 hours. So that quickly became the highest selling Vicky Bakery at the time as well, just because of how it evolved, you know? And I think it's, and then as we separated to CAO, we evolved even more. And I think it's something that makes us Cuban American as well. So yeah, we want the Cuban tradition, but now we're kind of embracing that Cuban Americanness, and that's where the Mediodía comes from.
I can't, but I do, because I'm from Westchester. All right. So, pastelito. Guayaba, carne, or guayaba y queso?
And if you believe in yourself and you're gonna work hard and you can do it, the good things happen, you know? And planning. I think planning's important, and we've evolved so much from when I first joined Carlos. Like, that's why I think we work so good together.
All right, Pero Primos. Now, I know many of you remember, because I remember this day vividly, a couple months back when it was National Flan Day. And we had some of the most delicious freaking flan that we've ever had, and you guys were all just drooling over it. And that flan came from CAO Bakery. And with me today are co-founders of CAO Bakery. We have Tony CAO and Carlos de Varona. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for having us, Ish.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, and again, thank you guys for the flan. Oh my gosh.
Anytime.
You guys don't understand. Like, I shared it because there was a lot of it, not because I wanted to. If not, I would have just taken it home and just eaten it all myself, but that's okay. And they brought more food. They brought, honestly, like, I think there's no more croquetas at one location.
Yeah, we probably wiped them out.
Yeah, caballero, that entire box is full of croquetas. Like, it's like a weight. Like, I could do curls with it and then eat it, which is how I do curls. But thank you guys for coming by. You know, I've loved you guys for a hot minute now. You've been around for, how long has it been now officially? Like, you guys
Since 2018.
2018.
So it's been getting close to 10 years.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it's funny because this is in the best way possible. It feels longer, right? Because you guys really have cemented yourselves in the Miami community and in the Miami culture in a way that I think 10 years doesn't speak enough to how just embedded you guys have become.
Yeah, and I think those 10 years were rough. We launched and then COVID hit, and then there was a labor shortage and inflation, you know, so I think it felt like 30 years for us, but we're here, you know?
Well, the moral of that story is that it doesn't matter what, people need croquetas.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. COVID, croquetas, it's both with a C. It's fine. We're good.
Essential business.
Exactly. Listen, shit, get rid of cafecito and I will kill people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very essential.
Liquor store and croquetas.
Liquor store and croquetas. Yeah. And not even in that order though.
Yeah.
It could be the other way around too.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I will say, you know, personal little story on my end is when you guys kind of started again, I think it was like 2019 then, you guys participated in a sandwich contest at Gay 8.
Yes.
Which is where the Pastelito sandwich basically debuted. And we were one of the first, myself and my co-host Darian were one of the first to have it. And we helped pick it as the winner that year. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
But honestly, like, se la comieron with that one. Like, how did that, I mean, we're gonna get into the history of everything, but I gotta start with where my fat heart lies, right? Which is, at what point did you guys say to yourselves, you know what this needs? Ham and cheese. And you were right, by the way. But how did this come about? I don't know who wants to take it.
So we've always had the preparadito in Miami, you know, which is the meat pastry with your ham, cheese, and pickle. And actually, I would love to take credit for it, and so would Carlos, but we hired a chef at the time when we separated from Vicky, Jeremiah Bullfrog, a famous chef in Miami.
I'm sorry, his name is Jeremiah Bullfrog?
Yeah.
Like the song?
I believe so. I'm not familiar with the song, but
Jeremiah was a bullfrog and
okay,
a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Is he still a good friend of yours?
He
like
is.
The song?
He is.
Okay,
He is,
good.
he
All
is,
right.
A very nice guy, good chef. He opened Square Pie City, a pizza place. After he helped us out, he was on a couple of shows on TV. But he came up with the Mediodía, which is the guava and cheese pastry. He's like, look, let's twist this a little bit. And he put actually smoked Gouda in the beginning, and we would get like a country ham. And we kind of switched it up to a little more Cuban now with the Swiss cheese and simplified it a little bit, but it's still a crowd favorite, you know?
It's absolutely freaking delicious. That's why it's a crowd favorite. Yeah. So, all right, now, you know, you mentioned it's kind of I don't know if the right word is spin-off, right? But it started as Vicky, and then you guys kind of took that next step and made your own path, right?
Yeah. So my grandparents started Biggie's in 1972. I helped bring it with my dad and my uncles from 8 family stores to 21 locations, I believe, before we left.
That many?
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we all owned 2 stores. I owned 2 stores at the time, Vicky Kendall and Vicky Flagler. My dad owned 2, Miami Lakes and Hialeah, and my uncles owned 2 each. So like we just came through as a family, put everything kind of together, and try to get to the next level, you know?
Nice. All right. My first question though is, so your last name is CAO.
Yep.
It is CAO, C-A-O.
CAO.
That is your real legitimate, like, you've known him since you guys were like children. This is not like some thing he created, right? Like he was born with this name.
It's legit.
All right.
It's legit.
Do you know how fantastic it is that you fell into Cuban American original as your last name?
Yep. It did work out amazing. And really, like, we did the last name in the beginning to honor the family, to honor my grandparents who started all this. You know, we wouldn't be here without them at the end of the day. You know, they brought us to reality for us and gave us a way to earn a living for our whole lives, you know, from my dad to us, you know, to everybody.
That's a family business.
Yeah. And then the Cuban American original was actually Tams. So Tams is Indonesian. He's our marketing genius. The guy that creates amazing content as well. So I'll give him a shout out because he came up with it. He's my Cuban Indonesian, we call him, you know, because he's as Cuban as it gets.
Cubanesian.
Yeah. We love him. He's super creative. Came up with the logo, which I love the logo as well.
So simple, but
and I think it's something that could grow, you know, with a little coffee cup and everything.
Yeah.
I think he did a really good job. And he came up with the Cuban American original. We didn't even think about that.
When we were considering the name change and how to go down that path, I was, you know, you stay within the box and you're thinking, all right, a baker's hat, you know, the traditional stuff. And then he came up with this. And I was just like, it's got to grow on me. But it's so forward thinking. With you know, trying to get the new customers, you know, and continue the tradition that the CAO and the way he did it was just created with the tacita and then, you know, the happy face under the A. It was just so forward thinking and it's who we are.
the beauty of it is that it's so simple, but the more you look at it, the more things pop out, right? It's like, oh, it's a little smiley face. Oh, it's a pastelito. Oh, it's a cafecito cup. Oh, it could be a slice of cake. Yeah. It could be, you know what I mean? To your point of it being forward thinking is that it's not limited, right? It's not like, well, we're a bakery and there's a chef's hat and a little piece of bread next to it, right? It can be anything in the best way possible, right? Because it can evolve as you guys evolve, which is what any business wants to do at the end of the day, you know? Speaking of, you guys have definitely been doing a lot of evolving in the menu. I think it's interesting to me because people think, oh, it's a Cuban bakery. You know, a Cuban bakery, Hanguiando, pastelitos, and call it a day. But you guys do a hell of a lot more than just that. I mean, give us for the 6 people who haven't been to CAO Bakery, or actually, I mean, we have Pero Primos all over the world, so we want to entice them to come. You know, what are some of the unexpected menu items on a CAO menu?
I would say, like you said, we're not a bakery, so we offer breakfast, a lot of breakfast. We offer lunch, and now we started doing the platters. For breakfast, I think we did a little bit of twist. Jeremiah helped us out with some of that stuff. We got the Cuban Egg Benedict.
Wait, there's a Cuban Egg Benedict?
Yeah. So it's an Eggs Benedict but on Cuban bread, obviously. And then we do
Sir, that's my
our
favorite thing
sazon
in the world.
aioli, which we get the sazon packets, and we make our aioli sauce out of it. So it comes out like our own béarnaise sauce kind of, but it's very good, very good. With the homemade shoestrings on top. It's a crowd favorite.
Okay. I realize that I have a box of pastelitos and croquetas in front of me, but my favorite thing in the world is Eggs Benedict, so a Cuban Eggs Benedict. And now I'm thinking of what I'm going to have later, right? I'm going to eat the Cuban Eggs Benedict. But, you know, a lot of what you're doing, it really does speak to, you know, I get the vibe from you both. It's about tradition, right? It's not about being tied to tradition, but acknowledging it. I think, would that be a fair assessment, you know, of how you guys have approached this brand?
Yeah, very fair.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, again, just from the Mediodía sandwich to even the Eggs Benedict, right? You're not just saying, well, we're going to do pan cubano and rebotillo. You know, it's how do we continue to move that forward? Is that something that you guys had thought about always from the beginning, or is this something that just kind of you found yourselves as you know, you inch closer to the 10 years and all that?
So I think it was part of why we even separated from Vicky at the time. Like at the time, we were when we opened Coraway, me and Carlos, that was Carlos's first bakery with me.
Coraway and what?
And 78th, right there. That's our #1 location, right off the Palmetto in Coraway.
Oh, Thank you for being open 24 hours, by the way, because the amount of drunken nights where you have been my salvation, thank you.
You and I both. But so we were like we said, we've been childhood friends for a long time. So I was kind of driving him crazy with my best friend Jose as well, who's been working with me for a long time. And we were like, Carlos, let's open a bakery. Let's open a bakery. Carlos was in real estate, and he's like, you find the right real estate spot, and we'll do this. So when we showed him the location, I think he was like, all right, you guys finally found it, because we went through a couple locations before that. And that bakery evolved into something different that Vicky wasn't, I guess, at the time. Like we were the first ones to really start cooking, I guess. Like before that, it was just a bakery, So we started doing the breakfasts, we started doing the sandwiches. We opened 24 hours, so that quickly became the highest selling Vicky Bakery at the time as well, just because of how it evolved, And I think it's and then as we separated to CAO, we evolved even more. And I think it's something that makes us Cuban American as well. So yeah, we want the Cuban tradition. But now we're kind of embracing that Cuban Americanness, and that's where the mediodía comes from. The arroz con pollo bites is grabbing tradition. We don't want to be like too fusion. I wouldn't say that. It's just like repackaging it, like kind of in a way that like Americanizes some of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's that same Cuban flavor.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I'm assuming you guys have probably been out to Los Angeles at some point. Have you gone to a Porto's?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I feel like you guys are doing something similar insofar as you're honoring your roots, but you're adapting to your surroundings. And obviously it's very different because, the Cuban influence in LA is different. It's more Mexican, right? It's in terms of the Latino-ness of it all. But I see that in how they approach it, where like they'll have these staples, but they adapt, they kind of change it a little bit. And you guys have done that, but from a very selfish perspective, it kind of just, it seems a little bit more organic insofar as, because it's still Cuban here, right? I mean, so you're still being able to lean into that.
Yeah, we met with Betty Porto actually when we went to the bakery convention. We went to
Wait, there's a bakery convention?
Yeah.
An entire convention of baked goods?
It's in Vegas every 3 years. So
in Vegas? Yeah. Junior, we're going next year.
It's more machinery and stuff, but it's good. It's good. So we actually went down to LA. We went to the Portos, and we sat down with the family there and all that. And she had that same advice. She's like, look, unfortunately, like I have to cater to my clients, and my clients don't like the cappuccinos and real Cuban items. So you see them, they've evolved a little more than we have, I guess. And we do want to keep that tradition on it and that homemade touch. Even our pastries, like we bought the big pastry line, but we close everything by hand to kind of finish the pastry by hand to still keep that authentic homemade look.
Love it. So. I love it. All right. Now we've kind of said this a couple times. You guys have known each other since forever, right? I will speak on my behalf. My co-host of this show, I have known since I was 12 years old. So I know what it's like to get into business with someone who I've known since before puberty. What has that been like for you guys? Like, was it more of a, you were just like, dude, I've been eating your family's food forever. Like, how do I get in? Like, how do I become a part of this? Or was it more just like he was saying, do you want free pastelitos for life? Here's how you can do it. Wow. How did this come about?
I was just minding my own business in my own office, and Tony and Jose would stop by and be like, you gotta look at the numbers. It's crazy. I'm like, leave me alone.
I love that you're just like, I want nothing to do with you, but lifelong friend.
It really was. It was, I want nothing to do with the food space. It's not something I ever had a passion for.
But your background was solely
real
economics.
estate and
insurance.
Yeah, and so for me it was just like, all right, it's all about location. But then as we found the location, I think it was the first standalone Vicky Bakery, right? Probably the first standalone bakery of what we consider the Cuban bakeries today. Mm-hmm. And our vision was like, all right, let's just build it. If you build it, they'll come. Right, and we stepped it up. We spent over $1 million. Probably everybody thought we were crazy. They're just like, you guys are nuts, right? But it was just one of those things, forward thinking. And then when I got into it, I was like, all right, I'm $1 million deep. Like, we're gonna figure this out.
That's a lot of croquetas.
And so like anything else I've done, I just dive in. I was in the back, and Tony and I and Jose and my brother were just working it, figuring it out. I remember hiring some employees, and they're like, you don't know shit about bakery. I'm like, you're right. I don't. But we're going to make this happen, right? And we did, right? So that's the beauty of it. And I told Tony, if we're going to do one, we're going to shoot for 10. We're going to do 25. Like, this is just not going to be a one and done. Yeah. So it was always like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to shoot for the stars. So.
Absolutely, that's what you got to do.
So these guys worked their butt off, and I remember it's funny that he said his brother the first day showed up with Ferragamos, like nice shoes, you know. And then by the third day, he had like
So
a
cute.
New Balances
Aw,
on, and then by the fourth day, he had like some Tempur-Pedic funny shoes on. But he
And
was
now
dying.
he's the spokesperson for Crocs. Is the evolution there? But you said something that I think is something we've actually said many times here on this show with other people we've interviewed. Like, for instance, we've had Danny and Rosa from Sandwich on here. And probably in a similar light, to say, well, we're going to open up a Cuban bakery, we're going to do a Cuban bakery thing in Miami is probably the same, are you insane, that they got when they're like, we're going to make a Cuban sandwich shop in Miami. It's like, there's one on every corner, right? So, I can totally see how people would think, have you lost your mind, right? But it just goes to show that there's space for everybody, right? Especially when you guys have good product.
Yeah. I think it was like the transition was kind of easy because we owned a lot of the market. I feel like from the Vicky Bakeries. We owned 6 Vicky Bakeries at the time, so we converted them within a couple weeks. So we owned all the Vicky Bakeries that were down south at that point. Like we owned all of them. So it's kind of like it was. Don't get me wrong, the hardest decision I've ever made in my life to put everything I was comfortable with and make that move. But it wasn't as bad as we projected. It went pretty well, and there's always those people that are gonna be like, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? And I was making the pastries for these bakeries when they were Vicky's. I was making them after they were Vicky's. So like
Same recipe.
Yeah, same recipe.
Exactly.
My grandfather. My grandfather's the one that showed me hands on. I was the one doing it.
Yeah.
From scratch, from washing pans to cleaning floors to making pastries of bread, wedding cakes, everything. I grew up in that space.
That's how. So the whole top to bottom. But you that are new to it, what would you say was either the most difficult element or the thing that totally caught you off guard that you were like, oh, I never realized this had to be done?
It was just learning the whole process from like controlling your food costs to the labor, dealing with, the employees, just used to dealing with a different caliber.
It's different, yeah.
Actually, it was more of a headache before because we used to make all the dulces. And in each bakery, we would have a dessert maker and a cake decorator in every store. So it was 10, at that point, we had 10 stores. It was 10 different decorators, 10 different recipes. That every dessert maker is like an artist a little bit.
That's a headache for continuity.
So they like to, you give them the recipe, but they think they're a little better than this guy.
Si uno le pone canela, el otro le pone vainilla.
El que lo hace allá una mierda. I do it better.
But, and they're very proud of their work, so they're like artists a little bit, and the decorators the same thing. But once we were able to put everything together, I think it was a lot easier and a lot easier to control the quality and
It's streamlining.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so because I have questions. I promise you I do. All right. So I want to just kind of ask you guys, in general, Cuban food. Again, it's always funny to me when people call it Cuban cuisine, because to me, cuisine is like French. It's something I'm like, no, Cuban, that's what we make at my abuela's house. Like, that's picadillo con arroz. That's not cuisine, But I think it could be, right? Do you think Cuban food... It's not even that it's having a moment. Do you think that there's something to Cuban food that people find exotic in a way that we just don't realize because it's just our day to day? Like when I've taken, we're giving white people, pastelitos, they're just like, oh my God, what is this thing? It's delicious. And I'm like, bro, it's un pastelito de huevo queso. Like, I've been having this since like I was born on August 6th. By August 7th, I was having my first one. Like this exoticism. But do you find that there's an element of that, or do you guys approach it still as like it's just comida del, it's like of the people?
As we expand outside of South Florida, we start to see that, right? And I think internally we say it all the time where it's like Cuban's hot, right? It's one of those things where you have Mexican food, you have sushi, right? But it's exploited. I think that the Cuban, it hasn't been exploited yet, where there's an opportunity there. Where like Cuban's hot, like you can go to any place and find a Mexican restaurant, right?
This is true.
You can go get
commercialized
sushi,
ones,
right.
So to find something Cuban, you're like, you see the coffee sign outside, you're like, wait a second, is there Cuban coffee there, right? So we feel like that's where the opportunity is, right? Because I feel like it's people want Cuban,
And you see with Portals, they do an amazing between their 5 locations, 125 million, I believe, a year.
They're huge locations.
They are.
It's crazy.
It's like Disney World lines, and it's the same thing on both sides.
I made a freaking line to have a pan con bistec outside of Portos. I'm like, caballero, I'm not at Disney World. Like, and it's a pan con bistec at the end of the day.
It is.
But I made it and I had it and it was good.
Yeah.
What would you guys say though is makes a dish quintessentially Cuban, right? Like, what would you say either makes, okay, let me elaborate on that. Either makes a dish Cuban, or if you show up somewhere and they're like, oh, it's Cuban food, and you have it, you're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, what's that thing that you're like, this isn't, no, I respect the effort, but it's not Cuban.
I'm trying to think, but I did have a lot of those experiences in California because there's a Versailles over there, not to rock anybody, you know, because I just think it's the people cooking sometimes. It's not a Cuban cooking sometimes, and
Right.
not necessarily because down here we have a lot of cooks that aren't Cuban, and I guess they just train properly.
But they learn.
They learn from the source.
Yeah.
But I'm picky because we're from Miami, so I'm picky about my Cuban
That's
food
the
as well.
problem.
You know?
That's the problem is that whenever I go out, I'm just like, I feel like my grandmother, esto no sabe igual.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
esto no saben cocinar. And it's like, they do. They went to school. They learned how to do these things.
What's your favorite Cuban spot for Cuban food?
My favorite Cuban spot? So it depends on what I'm in the mood for, but I'm also just a creature of convenience. So I live 3 blocks from Versailles.
Okay.
So for me, I'm gonna say Versailles just because of geography. So yeah, it's one of those like, you know what? Yeah, let's get the arroz imperial. That is actually my favorite thing in the world. Arroz imperial o un bistec empanizado.
Yeah, they have a good arroz imperial there. They do.
They do.
We
It's-
order it sometimes.
And to me, an arroz imperial is one of those better. It's bigger than the sum of its parts because if you think about it, it's like it's chicken, rice, and cheese and mayonnaise.
Yep.
But when it comes together, oh sir, that is fantastic.
It is.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, it's because the reason I asked the question is when I lived up in New York, you know, many times people will, best of intentions, they'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna go to eat Cuban food and Latin food and blah blah blah," and I'll get there, and the first sign for me was when it's like, "Oh, but you don't like spicy foods? You're Cuban," and I'm like.
We don't eat
Yeah, we don't do spicy. We're garlic and citrus.
that.
That is us.
Put some
Like,
lemon all over it and ajo.
yeah, if you put lemon or garlic on it, that is us. If you put hot sauce on it, that's, I mean, it might taste good, but that's not Cuban food. And people were always so amazed by that. So that's kind of where my question was coming from, because a lot of times people outside of our bubble, right, will be like, you don't like spicy, but you're Cuban. And I'm like, and what do you know about Cuba? Because clearly not the food.
We're not in Mexico. But
Yeah, we're not in Mexico. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, as soon as we leave South Florida, we're all you know, Hispanics. I guess. Right? So,
Well, there's that too. It's lumping us all together in one big clump. It's like, no, sir, that is not correct. So, okay, you guys mentioned leaving South Florida, or expanding, not leaving South Florida. They're not going anywhere. I refuse. I will not let them. Expanding South Florida. So, where are you guys now? I know you have a couple in Broward, right?
Yep, we're in Orlando. We just opened
Orlando?
Winter Springs, by UCF, about 15 minutes from UCF, 25 minutes
close.
north
Students are
of
very
Disney.
lucky.
We're in Tampa. We got 2 locations in Tampa right now. We got an old Pollo Supremo actually that we remodeled with a drive-through that's doing very well there.
Nice.
And we're moving. We're talking to a group in North Carolina. We're looking for locations in Ocala,
Where in North Carolina?
Gainesville, in Charlotte, Matthews area right now.
yeah, Charlotte Matthews.
Too
there.
far from where I have a cabin. All right.
Yeah.
Damn it. It's like 2 hours away. I love y'all, but I'm not driving 2
No,
hours
no,
for a
we're working on
pastelito.
it. We're working on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We want to work our way up the East Coast, you know? So
Well, you're doing it. You're doing it. I have to say, like, that alone, I think, speaks to just the ambition that you guys have. And I think, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, you know, oh, we're gonna do a Cuban bakery, quote unquote. And it's like, but there's a dime a dozen and this and that. I think the fact that you guys have been managing to expand it outside of, as I always call it, the Cuban bubble, right, the Miami bubble, speaks to the fact that your food is, yes, it is Cuban food, yes, it is Cuban based, but it's not only for Cubans, right? There's something about it that there's a universality to it.
We noticed a lot when we opened our second store, and we were like, we opened North Miami Beach on 163rd and 19th, and close to Biscayne, and we were kind of like, we got a great deal on the spot, so the city was very welcoming. The mayor called us and showed us the location, I think, at the time.
The mayor?
But we were kind of worried about it, so we were like, man, like, this isn't our demographic, how are we going to perform here, you know? Like, there's a lot of traffic that passes through, but we projected maybe half of what we actually did the first month. And then since that store, like, we've gone all up that East Coast. We did Hollandale, we did Hollywood, and those stores have been more successful than our stores here down south in Southwest, because there's a Panko Beefsteak in every corner, there's a bakery in every corner that's been established here probably for 20 years in every corner. And out there's no competition either. And I think we appeal to people. So even Orlando, we did 60 platters the first day of Cuban platters.
The first day?
And and here in these stores down south, like, the platters are fairly new, so it's not like it's a big move. But you have Sergio's, you have Versailles, you have Molina's, you have a lot more competition here in the heart. So
And it's also just getting people to change their chip.
Yeah.
Of what they expect when they walk through your door, right? There's a certain expectation of like, I'm going to CAO to get my café con leche, to get my pastelito, to get my, X, Y, and Z. And that's just what I'm here for.
And it's hard to change that culture here in Southwest, I guess, because that's like that's what they've always known for. But you go to the stores in Hollywood and we have 30, 40 tables. It's more cafe style, I guess, as you go north,
Yeah.
And they're packed for breakfast, packed for lunch. So I think it's a different, whenever you're in the area, definitely come check it out. Or South Beach as well is like one of those stores that it's really like a cafe,
I'm never in South
Yeah, I
Beach.
know. I see it, but
There's no reason to go to South Beach if you're a native. I'm sorry.
I know.
I don't care who gets upset. No, I'm not doing it. Not going out there. But with that said,
Maybe for croquetas.
But with this, listen, I live in the Gables, so the Coral Way location is right down the street, and I'm always up and down Coral Way. So yes, 100%. That's actually my favorite store, not because you guys own it, but that is my favorite store. Kind of piggybacking off of that, right? At the end of the day, I guess you guys are still a small business, even though you're growing leaps and bounds. What would you say to other small businesses trying to really get their foothold in that space, right, in the food space? And I'll say it myself. I don't know how familiar you guys are with our whole Michigas, but in addition to having a full-time job and doing this, myself and my co-host also co-own a chicken wing business. And so it's called Pim Pam Pollo. We have guayaba y queso wings. It's a whole thing. But as a small business, I think sometimes it can feel a little daunting in a market like Miami, especially, right? Because it is such a huge market, to take that plunge and to say, you know what, we're going to do it. Even though you believe in your product, because we believe in our product. We've been around now for 3 years or so. But what advice would you give someone else maybe, looking to say, I want to take that plunge, but I just don't think it's worth it?
When you say plunge, like a brick and mortar you're thinking, or?
I mean, in my mind, I thought brick and mortar in my mind, but let's broaden the scope of the question and let you guys interpret it as you will.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're crazy.
Well, thank you for coming to this TED Talk.
It's tough because more than 80% fail, right, in the small business in the QSR space. But you just got to go all in, right? It's one of those things where it's the risk reward. If you make it, you're gonna reap the rewards.
Right.
But it's not an easy feat, right? It's just one of those things where, as you come together, again, thanks to Tony and his experience in the bakery world, and creating a product that it's not like wings or burgers,
Right.
But in Miami, there is an abundance of it, so
It might as well be in Miami.
right, it might as well be.
Yeah.
But then it's just having that willpower to push through and trying to leverage your way into as many deals as possible. We got personal guarantees. Like every time we're all in. Like
the first couple years were tough. It was like, are we gonna make it?
Wow.
And then people, when you sign on the dotted
everything.
line and you personally guarantee these leases for over $1 million each one,
SBA loans.
SBA loans. COVID comes and then you're like, okay, we either got to push through. Or we're just going to have to start all over, right? And then at that point, we already had family, kids, responsibilities. At 18, 19 would have been like, whatever.
I don't think at 18, 19 you could have secured $1 million loan.
But, you can take those kind of chances. But, it's just believing in what you got and working hard, right? That's just really the reality of it. And as a small business, what we try to do is keep it, where we try to keep it as family-oriented as possible, right? Where the employees feel like it's a family. And you kind of create that rapport with them so that it doesn't become corporate, right? Eventually, hopefully we do get there, but you try to keep that rapport with them where they're with you as well. So they're just not going to leave you for somebody else because they're like, Coño, I'm not going to leave Tony and Carlos hanging. They've been with me. They come in, they know about me and my family, they support. And as you grow, you try to build that along the way so it becomes easier because turnover costs you money.
1,000% it does.
And if you don't have your employee support, you really don't have anything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
true.
We
Most
still
people don't
got
think about
people
that.
working from the first Vicky, me and my wife opened, that they been with us for 15 years, and they're pretty much family to us.
But that's also, I think, just speaks to, again, you guys have known each other forever, so you're family. For those of you who don't know, Yvette Cow
The boss
is
there.
behind the camera here. She was feeling a little shy, but she's here. So, I mean, and it started by your grandparents. And I think the beauty for me is that it seems like you don't want to lose that family business element, right?
Right.
Many times I think people, when they have success, whether of their own will or because they feel they have to, it's like, well, I'm a business and we're doing this and we have to be, business-like and be corporate. And yes, you have to be smart about how you run your business. But I don't think it serves to kind of just ignore where you came from in that sense.
Yeah. We're family. I would say that, we're pretty much family, pretty much. Our kids grew up together, and I think that's part of what makes us great as well, But
Yeah, we try to lead by that way, right? We try to create that culture where, and we say it. We don't, we go into the stores, we say hi to everybody, even though we may have 300 plus employees, and it's just tough to get to know everybody, but we get to know them and try to build that rapport and become a neighborhood bakery at the end of the day. So
yeah, I was just with you saying like say hi to everybody. I'm always reminded of years ago. I had a boss that I was worked in a customer service call center, and she said to me one day, she's like, you know what? I'm proud of the fact that I've got about 100 employees here. And if anybody was to ask me, I could tell you one personal thing about each and every one of them. Like they weren't just, oh, John, who's part of the team over there. It was, John who likes to tap dance. And it was, Maria who has a flower arrangement business. And I think that it speaks to kind of what you're saying right now, which is they're not just employees, they're people.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way.
That's the Cuban culture, right? We stick together, right? It's like people don't leave Hialeah because they want to stick together, not because of.
There's a lot of reasons to leave Hialeah, trust me, but they don't.
And they don't.
But they don't.
So that we're a tight knit community.
yeah. But opening your own business, to go back to the question, I would say believing in yourself is and if you believe in yourself and you're gonna work hard and you can do it, the good things happen, and planning. I think planning is important, and we've evolved so much from when I first joined Carlos. Like that's why I think we work so good together, because he's great at administration, great at numbers, and I was in the back of the bakery, so I was doing my P&Ls on paper back then and chicken scratches, and I sold him on it, so I did a pretty good job. But now, like where we came with technology, like everything's like ordering systems, inventory systems, like it's integrated with the POS. It's a lot easier to run, I guess, the amount of stores we have compared to what I was doing. I was hands-on, like.
It's easier to run, but it can very easily get away from you.
Oh, it could.
If you don't have someone like him who's on top of things, it can very easily overwhelm you.
Definitely. And we noticed that even when we got to Fort Lauderdale, and I was probably as north as we went, like except for the Tampa store. Mm-hmm. But when we opened Fort Lauderdale, we opened it did great. The first month we did over 130 in sales, let's say, and then it dropped down after because we couldn't find the right team. We couldn't be there all the time. It's an hour and 15 minutes away sometimes. And that's when we kind of like put the brakes on corporate stores, and we're like, man, we got to focus maybe on franchising, because people could actually, they could be part of that neighborhood. They're usually part of that neighborhood. And we found some good people. Like the people in Orlando, they're part of a big church. They're part of the neighborhood. They have people coming from everywhere all over. And I think that's what a neighborhood bakery needs. Like you need to know how John likes his coffee, clarito, poco azúcar. You need to know how Fulana's kids are. I think that's what creates and I think that's what created Starbucks in the beginning, the little writing on the cups and your local coffee shop, So like we want to be that, like you said, that neighborhood bakery, that place you would go every day and feel comfortable, get your señorita, get your coffee. And
you're essentially describing ventanita culture.
Yeah.
Which is what 100% it comes down to, right? Yeah. It's and I didn't realize how Miami that was until I was not in Miami. Right? You take it for granted here, that culture of like, that you go to the ventana and there's always a señora who looks like she'd rather be dead than serving you coffee. But, she's like, it's like, hay un cafecito. Imagínate un café a esta hora, okay, está bien, But it's part of what we are, right? It's who we are. It's, and it's like, ay, una sonrisita. It's like, mijo, imagínate, es que yo tengo aquí, me duele la espalda, But that's us, right? That is the culture. Awesome. And you don't realize that doesn't exist outside of us.
Even here, you see restaurants last maybe 5. The good ones last longer, but you see restaurants, they make their money back in 3 years. They make money for like the next 3 years, and then they shut down.
Next concept.
Like the bakery gets better and better and better. 6 years, the numbers are going up and up and up because it's a culture. It's a lifestyle. It's something different here, I guess. 100%.
I'm sorry, I just burped on camera because I was, as you saw, scarfing down a gigantic pastelito de huevo y queso, which, by the way, you guys, I will say your pastelitos are always fantastic because they're they're flaky without being obnoxious. Like sometimes you go and you have pastelito and it's like eating one of those Nutri-Grain bars where it's just like it's all on you instead. It's always flaky but soft. It's yes. So keep doing it. Don't change that recipe.
Thank you.
Don't change that recipe. All right. So I do have some rapid fire questions that I wanna run by you guys. But before I do that, I do want to share an anecdote of a situation that I had actually at the Coralway in the Coralway store. No?
Gift card?
The gift card was so 2 anecdotes. All right, you know about the gift card. All right, so the gift card is a fantastic story. I wasn't going to bring that one up, but I'm gonna now. I really hope y'all have trained them since then.
We tried.
Because no, it's not even that. She basically was just like I could have number one, the one that didn't know, and then the other one was just like, yeah, we'll run like an EBT or whatever. And I'm like, but no, you can't. Like that's not how this works. Like so, it was just this fantastic comedy of errors that again, I love that you guys know the story and you're laughing about it.
Experience, yeah. We heard all about it right away.
But
it helps make you better. Though it does help you. All right, let's try and train them and let's get better at this. But it is hard.
And it gave me a story to share on the show. So like, thank you for that too. But also my favorite story though to this day is it was at night. It was probably like 10 o'clock at night. And I went to that location as well. Again, I'm telling you, I'm always at that location. That is my CAO Bakery. And you guys, I believe you still have like the little container of chicken salad, which is very good. But at the time, at least, you did not have a chicken salad sandwich on the menu. Yep. I thought to myself, well, they have chicken salad. They have Cuban bread. I will just ask for a chicken salad sandwich. Yep. I got looked at by everyone like if I was growing another head out of the side of my neck because I was like, sí, bueno, okay, la pasta de pollo, el chicken salad, ponlo en un pan para hacer un sándwich. Pero un sándwich. Pero ¿cómo que un sándwich? Sí, no, como un sándwich. No, está bien, no. And then I heard her telling someone else, no, sí, no sé, then I heard from the kitchen when the door opened, like, pero ¿cómo que con uno? Like, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, I have literally just asked to put this on bread and no one understood what I wanted. Yep. And that is my favorite thing in the world to eat is chicken salad sandwich ever since I lived in New York and I came back. I can't find a good one. You guys have a good chicken salad. But
they just won't sell it to you.
they don't. It's not. No, they sold it to me. No. They made it. Good. But they all look like if I had shown up and been like, "Hi, can I have un pastelito de hígado?" I probably would have gotten less of a response than a chicken salad sandwich. Like it's to this day, it's just one of my favorite stories. And I was like, they're coming on the show. They're gonna hear the chicken salad sandwich story.
I like it. We did for a while. We did the chicken, like the mini chicken croissants, chicken salad croissants, which I think were amazing. I love it. I think they're great.
I love that shit. Yeah.
We should name the sandwich after you and bring it back.
Listen, I will show up. I will promote the hell out of it. Like you don't even understand. Like I can be bought with food. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. All right, so I got a couple of rapid fire questions here. I wanna just kind of run down with you. And again, you guys are Miami boys, born and raised, right? Like what area did y'all grow up in?
Hialeah, Miami Lakes.
Hialeah. Yeah, all right, so they can say escaping Hialeah. Like I can't, but I do because I'm from Westchester. All right. So, pastelito, guayaba, carne, or guayaba y queso?
Guayaba.
Okay. All right. Aside from you guys, I don't want to say best Cuban bakery. I would say most reliable Cuban bakery.
Vicky Bakery.
I would agree. Vicky Bakery.
All right, let's take Vicky Bakery out of the equation too, because that's a family business. So let's see. They're looking for loopholes. I love this.
Yeah. I would say Miramar Bakery.
Miramar. Okay, well,
it's a friend of mine that we
went to the next county.
Yeah, but a very good guy. They own Colada as well. They run it very well, and we've shot ideas back and forth. And Aníbal there is a great guy. Pops is really good. They're good people.
I would say 186 Bakery. Nobody's gonna know about it, but
where is it?
It's on Miami Gardens on 186, and they do a good job. And I don't want to give credit to anybody else. So
they do a good job.
He's like, we're done giving free publicity for other people.
Ricky's Bakery's good too. Ricky's really nice. I met him a couple times. Great guy. They're a good bakery as well.
I always want to see Ricky because I want to compare him to the picture. Yeah. The drawing of Ricky. I'm like, I don't know can a human being look like that picture? I don't think so. All right. What is your favorite Cuban food dish across the board? What you have to pick? Desert island, only one thing.
For me, it's rabo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's a picadillo. Like for my birthday, I want to but specific. I want somebody to make it, like my grandma or my stepmom or me.
You know what the follow-up question is going to be, that right?
No,
No raisins.
no raisins, but bananas. I have to have a banana or I can't eat it. So I need
Really?
a banana. Yeah.
That may be the most Cuban thing that's ever been said on this show, and that's saying something for this show.
Yeah.
All right. So, last question, and I have my opinion on this, and again, as Miami boys, and really, even before CAO, with Vicky being such a big fabric of Miami, do you feel that Miami is changing too rapidly, for the better, for the worse? Again, I'm giving you guys options of because I know part of it is just also getting older for me, where you're just like, in my day, I feel like an old man standing on his lawn yelling. But there are moments where I'm just like, this doesn't feel like the same Miami that I grew up with.
A little bit of our identity in the sense that this was Cuban town before, and I think it's getting a lot more diversified now. Mm-hmm. So I think that changes a little bit. It's not that same Cuban stronghold it used to be. I think we're still holding on, but it's not the same stronghold we used to have.
Yeah.
I think it has. I like the growth, right? Because growth is opportunity, and it's becoming, call it, Miami's on the map, right? In the '60s, it was a sleepy town, right? So now it's on the map. You got these big funds moving over here. There's so many things, so many great things happening in Florida. So it's cool to be part of that, and people wanting to come here. The weather, it's got so many. It checks all the boxes. So I say it all the time, like, I wouldn't leave here. When I retire, maybe differently, but this is where you make money. This is where it happens.
Yeah. Except for the traffic, which we can all agree blows.
Well, it comes with the territory.
Yeah. It's not as bad as California yet, but it's getting
there.
Yeah, it is.
It's getting there, because at least in California, the traffic, it's a lot of traffic, but it moves.
Yeah.
Like the freeways there move. Aquí, I don't know what it is. People are just like, oh, this is where I'm going to read my, my phone.
Not even the express lane moves. It's still,
express lane. That's a suggestion.
Worse.
That's not an express lane. That's like, just we're going to take your money and you can sit there.
And you're stuck in here.
You're stuck in here. Oh, and it's $42, by the way, because you're stuck. Guys, thank you again for swinging by. Thank you again for bringing, I kid you guys not, I'm going to take a picture and post the amount of croquetas that are in that box. Again, I'm not saying this because you're here. I really genuinely love y'all's product. I've had several things on the menu across the board, and I have yet to have anything where I'm just kind of like,
Except the gift card.
Everything, except for the gift card. But that, I didn't eat the gift card, so there you go. That's why it's the exception. But, again, just thank you guys for really being part of the fabric of this community. It's something that we feel very strongly about here on this show. We always think it's easy for these outsiders, these outside companies to come in and think they understand our culture. But to see people like yourselves who live and breathe it, not just making it, elevating it and raising it, but then taking it outward is very inspiring. And I just want to say, genuine thank you to you guys for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us on here. It's really appreciated. Love telling the story and getting the word out there. And we love your show as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, now I'm going to eat all of this. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.